There is a quiet exhaustion that haunts the modern world. It's not the physical tiredness that comes from a hard day's work, but a deeper, more corrosive fatigue of the soul. It is the exhaustion that comes from the immense and unspoken pressure of trying to be your own God. Think about it. We have been taught that we are the sole architects of our destiny, the lone captains of our ship. And so, we take on the impossible burden of trying to control everything. We try to be the CEO of our careers, the CFO of our finances, the marketing director of our social lives, and the crisis manager for our families. We juggle 100 different variables. We obsess over every possible outcome, and we carry the entire weight of our success and failure squarely on our own shoulders. We spend our days in a state of hypervigilance and our nights in a state of restless planning. We chase success, believing that at the top of that mountain, we will finally find peace. But the chase itself is the enemy of peace. We reach a goal, and the relief is fleeting, lasting only a moment before the anxiety of the next goal takes its place. We build a fortress of financial security, only to find ourselves consumed by the fear of losing it. The fundamental paradox is that our relentless pursuit of peace through control is the very thing that annihilates it. We are running on a hamster wheel, working harder and harder, only to find ourselves more and more tired in the exact same place. This is the exhaustion of playing God. It is the natural consequence of a finite being trying to manage an infinite number of variables. It is a game we are guaranteed to lose, but what if there was another way? What if true power and the true peace that accompanies it did not come from more control, but from a strategic and intelligent surrender? What if the secret to having everything fall into place was to stop trying to hold everything together yourself? This shift from self-reliance to divine reliance is the most powerful principle for a successful life. And on this channel, we are dedicated to exploring these timeless laws, bridging them with the practical science of Napoleon Hill. If you are tired of carrying the world on your shoulders and are ready to learn the secret to a life of peace and power, I invite you to take the first step in this new direction and subscribe to our channel right now. You might think that this idea of prioritizing God is purely a spiritual or religious concept, reserved for saints and mystics, but you would be mistaken. This very principle was seen by Napoleon Hill, the most pragmatic and scientific investigator of success, as the ultimate strategic advantage. He discovered that the most powerful and effective leaders on earth were not those who relied solely on their own intellect and willpower, but those who had learned how to align themselves with a power that was infinitely greater than their own. Hill understood that trying to build a great life using only your own limited resources was like trying to light a city with a single candle. The truly great achievers, he found, were those who had learned how to plug their candle into the cosmic power grid. They understood that prioritizing this higher power was not an act of weakness, but the ultimate act of wisdom. It was the secret to effortless achievement and unshakable inner peace. So what does it actually mean to prioritize God in a practical, day-to-day sense, not just as a religious belief, but as a success strategy? To understand the blueprint for this life of peace and power, we must first turn to a timeless law, a divine sequence of operations that explains how to seek the cause and let the effects follow. If the attempt to be our own God leads only to exhaustion, what is the alternative? What does it practically mean to prioritize God, not as a vague religious sentiment, but as a concrete strategy for living? The answer, the entire blueprint for this life of peace and power, was given to us in a single, powerful sentence, a divine law of operations. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus delivers the ultimate sequence for success. He says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." This is not just a comforting platitude. It is a formula. It's a law of cause and effect as real and as unbreakable as the law of gravity. and it is the direct opposite of the formula the world teaches us. Let us dissect it piece by piece to understand its engineering. The first part of the command is the cause. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. What is the kingdom of God? It is not a physical place, but a state of being. It is a state of inner order, of alignment with divine principles, of peace. Righteousness means right thinking and right action. So to seek first the kingdom is to make your primary objective, the number one priority of your day, the cultivation of your inner world. It means that before you seek profit, you seek purpose. Before you seek recognition, you seek integrity. Before you seek to control the world outside, you seek to master the world within. This is the exact same principle we saw with King Solomon. He did not ask for the effects, riches and honor. He asked for the cause, a wise and discerning heart. He sought the kingdom of a well-ordered mind first. Prioritizing God means prioritizing the development of the cause. It is the work of becoming the flower, of tending to your own garden, of making your own mind the most orderly, value-creating, and divinely aligned place it can possibly be. This is your first and most important work. The second part of the formula is the effect, and all these things will be given to you as well. What are all these things? In the context of the sermon, Jesus was talking about the things that cause us the most anxiety: what we will eat, what we will drink, what we will wear, our material needs. But the law applies to all external results we desire: the success, the resources, the opportunities, the prosperity. And notice the language used. These things are not hunted or captured. They are given or added unto you. They are a consequence, a byproduct, a natural and inevitable result of getting the first part of the equation right. This reveals the world's great error. The world teaches us the exact opposite formula. It tells us, seek first all these things. Chase the money, chase the promotion, chase the security. And then, once you have all that, maybe you will find some time for peace, for purpose. For the kingdom, we spend our lives frantically chasing the effects, hoping they will somehow produce the cause. And the result is the exhaustion we described. We are working against the law. We are trying to build a house from the roof down. Prioritizing God is the act of aligning yourself with this universal law of first things first. It is the decision to dedicate the best of your energy not to manipulating the external world, but to cultivating your internal world, with the absolute faith that a well-tended garden will, by its very nature, produce fruit. You stop being the frantic hunter of butterflies and become the calm gardener of the flower. This ancient law provides the divine blueprint. It tells us what to do. But how, in our modern world, do we build according to this plan? How do we practically seek the kingdom in a way that produces tangible results? For the engineering specifics, the step-by-step methodology, we turn once again to the man who made a science of this very process and gave it a name that any business leader could understand. The law of first things first is the divine blueprint for a life of peace and power. It tells us what to do, focus on the cause, on our inner alignment, and the effects will follow. But for many, this can feel abstract. How in our busy, noisy world do we practically seek the kingdom? For the answer, we must turn to Napoleon Hill, who took this ancient spiritual law and translated it into a pragmatic, actionable business strategy. Hill, after decades of studying the most powerful people on the planet, came to a startling conclusion. He found that while they were all masters of planning, discipline, and action, their greatest achievements were not born from their own intellect alone. Every single one of them, consciously or unconsciously, had found a way to tap into a source of knowledge and power that was far beyond their own limited mind. He gave this source a name that was scientific and non-denominational: infinite intelligence. This, for Hill, was the great reservoir of all knowledge, all power, all creativity. It is the universal mind, the source from which all great ideas and all perfect plans emanate. What the ancient texts called God, Napoleon Hill, the pragmatist, called infinite intelligence. And he discovered that the ultimate secret of the superachiever was that they had stopped trying to operate as a lone wolf and had, instead, formed a partnership with this infinite power. And what was the mechanism for this partnership? It is one of Hill's most famous principles, the mastermind. A mastermind, in its simplest form, is an alliance of two or more minds working in perfect harmony for a definite purpose. Hill discovered that when minds harmonize, a third, invisible mind is created, which can be accessed by all members of the group. But the most powerful application of this principle, the one used by the greatest leaders, is what we can call the ultimate mastermind. The deliberate and conscious alliance between your own finite mind and the infinite mind of the universe. This is the engineering behind seeking first the kingdom. Prioritizing God is not a passive act of worship. It is the active daily formation of a strategic partnership. It is a divine joint venture. In this partnership, you are the junior partner. Your role is to bring to the table your definite purpose, the clear, burning desire of what you wish to create or achieve. The senior partner, infinite intelligence, brings everything else. It brings the perfect plan, the creative ideas, the unforeseen solutions, and the power to influence circumstances in your favor. This concept completely shatters the model of playing God that leaves us so exhausted. When you are your own God, you have to come up with all the plans, solve all the problems, and provide all the power. When you are in a mastermind with the infinite, your primary job is to maintain the connection, listen for the guidance, and then execute the plan you receive with faith. You move from being the stressed-out inventor to the confident and inspired executor. This concept of a divine partnership is the secret to moving from a life of struggle to a life of flow. If you are ready to form the most powerful partnership of your life and learn the methods to communicate with your senior partner, then make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications on, as this is the core of our teaching. When you operate from this partnership model, you stop making decisions from a place of fear and limited knowledge. Before any major move, you enter into a board meeting with your infinite partner. You present your purpose and you ask for the perfect plan. You learn to listen to the subtle voice of intuition, to recognize the inspired idea that seems to come from nowhere. This is the guidance from your senior partner. This is what Napoleon Hill discovered. The true source of peace and power is not in self-reliance, but in this divine alliance. It is the understanding that you don't have to have all the answers. You just need to be connected to the source that does. So this is the secret partnership that Napoleon Hill discovered was the common denominator among the greatest of the great. But how do we, on a practical daily basis, hold our board meetings with this infinite partner? What is the ritual that opens the lines of communication and ensures we are receiving our divine guidance? A partnership is useless if the partners never communicate. Knowing that you can form a mastermind with infinite intelligence is one thing. Building and maintaining that relationship is another. The secret to a successful partnership lies in consistent, clear, and respectful communication. This chapter is your practical guide to that communication. It is a daily alignment ritual, a 3-step process to conduct your board meeting with your senior partner, ensuring you receive the divine guidance that leads to a life of peace and power. This ritual should be the very first order of business on your daily agenda. Before you give your attention to the world, you must first give it to the source. Step 1, the morning council. This is your daily strategic meeting. Before your phone, before your email, before the demands of the day can rush in, find a place of stillness. This is not a time for begging or for reciting a list of worries. This is a respectful consultation between partners. First, you present the agenda. Read your definite purpose statement aloud. This reminds both your conscious mind and your infinite partner of the central mission you are working on together. Second, you ask for guidance. not just results. This is a critical distinction. The prayer of the hunter is, "Give me the prize." The consultation of the partner is, "Reveal to me the next step in the perfect plan to achieve our prize." You can say something like, "Infinite intelligence, this is our shared purpose. I'm open and receptive. Please reveal to me today the ideas, the actions, and the connections necessary for the next stage of its fulfillment. Guide my thoughts and my decisions." Third, and most importantly, you listen. After you have made your request, remain in silence for several minutes. Communication is a two-way street. The mistake most people make is that they do all the talking. The silence is where the answer has a chance to emerge. It may not come as a booming voice, but as a quiet intuition, a sudden clear idea, a feeling of peace about a certain course of action. This is the guidance from your senior partner. Step 2. The action of faith. Guidance is useless if it is not acted upon. The second step of the ritual is to spend your day in a state of alert expectation, ready to act on the instructions you have received. This is the application of your applied faith. The ideas and intuitions that come to you during or after your morning counsel are your strategic directives for the day. Your job is to trust them and act on them immediately. If you receive a sudden urge to call a person you haven't spoken to in years, make the call. If an idea for solving a problem pops into your head, write it down and take the first step to implement it. If you feel a calm sense of knowing about a decision, make the decision with confidence. This immediate action is your demonstration of trust in the partnership. It signals to infinite intelligence that you are a serious, reliable junior partner. It proves you are listening. The universe rewards action. And when you act on the guidance you receive, you open the door for even more and even clearer guidance to come. Inaction, born of doubt or procrastination, creates static on the line and weakens the partnership. Step 3. The surrender of the outcome. This is the step that brings you true peace. After you have consulted with your partner and taken the faithful action required of you, your work is done. The third discipline is to consciously release the anxious need to control the final outcome. You must do your part with absolute excellence, and then surrender the how and the when of the result to your senior partner, who can see the entire field and manage the infinite variables that you cannot. This is not passivity. It is focused action without anxious attachment. You plant the seed with care, you water it with diligence, but you do not stand over the soil all day, screaming at it to grow. You trust the process. This act of surrender is the direct antidote to the exhaustion of playing God. It allows you to work with a calm and powerful focus, free from the crushing weight of worry. You know that your all-powerful partner is handling the logistics of the harvest. Consult to get the plan. Act with faith to execute the plan, and surrender the outcome with peace. This is the daily ritual of divine alignment. When this practice moves from being a conscious effort to your natural way of being, your entire experience of life transforms. The battle ceases, and in its place, a new reality of peaceful, powerful production emerges. We have arrived at the destination of our journey. We began by diagnosing the deep exhaustion that comes from trying to be our own God. We rediscovered the divine blueprint of first things first, and we have learned the practical, daily ritual for forming a mastermind partnership with infinite intelligence. The final question is, what is the fruit of this life? What is the tangible result of prioritizing God? The title of this video makes a bold promise: true peace. But we must redefine what we mean by peace. The peace that comes from this divine alignment is not the peace of a quiet meadow or a stagnant pond. It is not a passive, sleepy, disengaged state. The peace that is born from this partnership is a powerful, dynamic, and productive force. It is the calm confidence of a master architect who knows his plans are sound. It is the serene focus of a great artist in the flow of creation. It is the unshakable stability of a mighty oak tree whose deep roots make it immune to the passing storms. This true peace is the primary reward of your new way of life. The constant draining internal monologue of worry, of what if, of how will I figure this out, is silenced. It is replaced by a quiet confidence, a deep and abiding trust that your senior partner has the map and that you will be given each turn, one step at a time. This peace, in and of itself, is a form of wealth that is more precious than gold. But the story does not end there. Because this peace is not just a feeling, it is a creative force. It is the good soil from which all other good things in your life will grow. And the most surprising byproduct of a life prioritized around this inner peace is an increase in outer prosperity. This happens for three practical, logical reasons. First, a mind at peace is a clear mind. The static of anxiety is gone. This clarity allows you to make vastly superior decisions. Your intuition, which is the whisper of infinite intelligence, can finally be heard. You see opportunities where you once saw only obstacles. You make choices from a place of wisdom and inspiration, not from a place of fear and reaction. And the consistent quality of your decisions naturally leads to a consistent quality in your financial results. Second, a mind at peace is a creative mind. The energy that you once spent on worry and on trying to control everything is now liberated. This vast reserve of mental and emotional energy is now available for its true purpose, creation. You have more bandwidth for innovation, for solving problems, for creating value for others. And as Napoleon Hill taught, riches are always in direct proportion to the value one provides. By becoming more creative and effective, you naturally become more valuable, and prosperity flows to you as a result. Third, a mind at peace creates a magnetic presence. Desperation repels, confidence attracts. When you operate from a place of calm certainty, people can feel it. Clients are drawn to your stability. Partners are drawn to your clear vision. The world wants to do business with the person who is not frantically chasing, but is calmly and confidently building. You stop being the hunter and become the magnet. This is the life that awaits you. This is the state of being we explore and cultivate here every single week. If you are ready to trade your exhaustion for this divine partnership and the powerful peace it brings, then seal your commitment by making sure you are subscribed to our community of creators. The choice that lies before you is simple. You can continue on the path of self-reliance, the exhausting path of trying to be your own God, forever chasing a peace that your own struggle pushes away. Or you can choose the path of partnership. You can choose to seek first the inner kingdom of alignment and peace. Stop playing God. Start partnering with Him. The peace you seek and the prosperity that follows are waiting for you in the silence of that first morning meeting.